All right, welcome back to another episode of the Built to Grow podcast. I'm going to be your host today, Randy Ingston, joined by Zack Columbia.
All right. So I'm just going to do it every time I fill in for Tim.
All right. Yeah, right. How are we doing today?
Good, man. Living the dream.
There you go. There
Yes,
we
sir.
go. Well, we got another good episode for you guys today. This one's going to be some insight kind of from as Zack came on or is coming on to the coaching team here at ProFit. He's got a unique perspective and unique view, a different lens, to view things with. And so we're going to dive into kind of some of his experience working with gym owners, his take, we'll layer in some of the stuff that I've obviously feel and have picked up over the years of working with other gym owners. But ultimately, today's going to be a good look internal. We're going to challenge you guys to kind of, raise that level of awareness, look at the things that you're doing for yourself and your own businesses, your own habits, and see if we can't, fine tune and tweak some of those things to give you a better result at the end of the day.
Yeah, we're looking at the man in the mirror.
Boom.
Right?
Yeah.
I think so, you, Tim, and myself have gotten into the office. We've been in meetings for hours at a time, brainstorming, right? Trying to come up with, we know the business systems that work.
Correct.
We know what needs to be in place. Like, we obviously have a great gym. We're in the trenches. It runs like a smooth oiled machine. We know what systems need to be in a business. Mm-hmm. The challenge that we have is getting gym owners to understand the importance of that versus like the front end shiny object, front end offer of like, hey, I'm going to get all this cash up front type of scenario, and then not really looking at any of the other things in their business that are going to lead to long-term success.
Correct. Yeah.
And so again, we get in the office, we ping things off of each other. How do we structure things in a way that, is still sexy somewhat to the gym owner, but also gets them to make the changes that are not sexy to lead to long-term success.
Yeah.
Very hard to do, which from my perspective is very interesting because gym owners are basically exactly like our clients.
Yeah. Isn't it so true?
It's so true. So it's like maybe they don't struggle with health and fitness, but they have the same exact like mentality about things as our clients do.
Absolutely.
Like coming in, clients like, hey, what kind of gimmick are you going to give me for the next 21 days or the next 6 weeks that is going to allow me to lose 20 pounds and come out of this looking like, I've been working out and eating right my whole entire life. And then like the client isn't concerned about what's going to happen after that, right? They're not thinking, okay, I'm going to change my lifestyle. I'm going to start eating right. I'm going to make these changes. I'm going to work out regularly. And those are going to lead to a healthy life overall where I don't struggle with these things anymore. Gym owners are exactly the same.
Yeah.
Thinking like, okay, it's just a different scenario, right?
Yep.
Like I'm going to get all the money up front. I'm going to offer this challenge or, high ticket thing, whatever. I'm going to collect all the money up front. And then when that's over, I'm going to go on to the next
or go back to what
challenge
I was doing before.
Go back to and not make any of the other changes. It's like, why, guys, if anybody recognizes this, you would think you would be the ones to see that you're just exactly like that client that you despise.
Or that, yeah, exactly. The issues that you call out or see with your clientele are the same exact operating systems and ways that you're going about your business as they are their diet, their nutrition, their fitness. I've said this for years and I see it, now I know that it's got to be hyper clear for you stepping into that because of your time working with clients, consistently.
Yeah, I'm now in both worlds, right? And
Yeah.
I see it firsthand.
And it's frustrating, right? Like, for me, the biggest thing is urgency. And it's the diet starts on Monday mentality.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like gym owners, they're like, oh yeah, I want to make this change and I want to do this, or I want to bring this into the business, or I want to make whatever the hell the change is. But there's no urgency to actually do it, right? It's an idea. They kick it around a little bit. maybe in a couple of weeks we decide to get there or things like that. There is absolutely, and Tim and I just talked about urgency. Like, you need the urgency in your business. If it's not worth starting, or run at this stuff today. You know what I mean? What can I accomplish today? How can I maximize the value I bring to my business today? What are those changes that I can do today to start on that path? Even if it's not the big change that, needs to happen, what are the little micro steps that lead towards that progression? Or am I doing things today that are in alignment with the things I say and I claim that I want? Or am I just talking about those things and yet I'm going to go down this other path? And so, I see it. It is like a direct thread to me, and it does bother me because it's hypocrisy to some degree. Yeah, you know what I mean. And again, guys, we're calling you out. We're not calling all of you out. We're just raising awareness to those that maybe this is the lesson that you need to hear. Maybe this is what's preventing you from becoming the person that's capable of the business, not just the business that's got what it needs in it.
Yeah, and Randy, it's like, I'm sure you've had this conversation so many times with gym owners, the same exact way that I've had it and all the gym owners have had it with their clients or prospective clients, right? You bring this person in, you have a conversation with them, you identify all of their pain points, and you have the perfect solution for them. Like, the solution is going to solve all of their problems.
And they agree.
They agree. So that's what I was going to say is, like, you ask them, right? Is there, anything that I haven't covered today that you feel like you need in order to be successful? Is there any reason at all that you feel like if you do our program, you won't get the result that you're looking for? And they're like, no, this is exactly what I'm looking for. And you're like, yes. Let's close the deal. And then you say, okay, here's how much it costs. And they're like, let me think about it.
Here's how, or even after that, sometimes price isn't even the problem.
Yeah.
It's the,
it's the belief,
excitement, 100%
it's the belief that they can be successful doing it. Like Tim talked about this in his presentation, or hit on it in his presentation at the Growth Summit, of like the thermostat, right? Some people are afraid of changing their thermostat.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it goes back to, everyone says, with the internet and the explosion of all, we live in the age of information. Well, yeah, that was true in the late 80s, early 90s maybe. But I'll absolutely throw that on its head. I don't think we live in an age of information at all. And I've been saying it for a while. We live in an age of application. Right now, remember going to school. I'm holding my cell phone for those of you listening. Growing up, right, you took a math test and you couldn't use a calculator. You had to learn how to do it because a teacher told us, you're never going to have a calculator on you, always.
Yeah.
We have a freaking supercomputer with access to the entire world's information living in our pocket nowadays. It's not an information era. It's an application. Because if you look at the difference between those who are getting what they want and those who are struggling, the information's there. I've said it 1,000 times on this podcast. MIT publishes their whole curriculum online. I don't know a single person who's got a degree from MIT that was self-studied, and it's absolutely well within everyone's wheelhouse, but nobody's doing it. Why? Because it's not the information that's difficult, it's the application. It's going and doing the work, right?
Dude, what brings you in? Oh, I've got a gym in my house and never use it. I just need somebody to hold me accountable. It's same exact thing, right? Like, I just need to take action. I just need a coach. I just need somebody that's going to check in with me, say, hey, we gave you the information, right? We step by step methodically laid this out of step 1, go here. Step 2, do this. Step 3, do this. Step 4, you're done. How often do we have to follow up with gym owners, check in? Did you do step 1? No. Like, okay, well, let's back up. Let's do step 1, and then we'll move to step 2 and 3 and 4, and then you're gonna reap the rewards of that.
Yeah. And and again, it's like most things, right? You can take a average diet plan, and somebody who's not following any plan can move to a very average basic plan and see results.
They just stick to it. Just doesn't have to be the best in the world.
Exactly. That's my point, right? But the action is what leads to the results, right? And there's two halves to the coin, right? Don't complain about the results you didn't get from the work you didn't do.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, at least take some action. Guys, I understand it sounds like we're, hard on you or preaching to you or telling you to buy our shit. That's not the case. The reason that we're bringing this up is because you are a critical component as the owner of that business. You are, much like I said before, right? We are a tool within our own environment, right? We can influence and impact that business by the decisions, our beliefs, our actions. All of those things matter, and you especially as the owner of the business. But if you're not future pacing that business, if you're not working with a coach, if you're not doing the things that it takes to become the individual, not just have the information, but become the individual that can apply the information, that can move swiftly, have urgency, have a clear game plan, and attack your business with the intention of growth, then you're leaving a lot of that stuff on the table and it's just becoming chance, right?
That's really the thing that is most obvious for me coming in and starting to work with these gym owners. It's obvious that the thing that differentiates people in with potential that need the most help, compared to the iron circle, the difference is just the action
100%.
that the people in the iron circle are taking, and they're in so much better positions in their business versus the person that, is like, okay, I know now that I need to take action. It's like, okay, if you take this action, eventually you're gonna be at this level. Like that's the only thing that's differentiating you. Like the information's there. We're gonna coach you through it. Just like pull the trigger and get going.
Yeah.
This is a side rant, but like now that Tim and I have launched Semi-Private Pro, it's like I'm doing lots of demos for that.
Yeah.
Right. Lots of software demos, teaching people how they can implement it into their business. It amazes me how many gym owners no-show their demo.
Oh, I know. I mean, right? You're like, I offer a free discovery call to dive into your business, help highlight areas of improvement, and work with you to develop a plan. And zero pressure, opportunity to work with us if that's the right fit. And gym owners will, first of all, you reached out, you self-scheduled, you
kind of like our leads,
asked for help, and then you aren't there to even start or have the conversation. It can't fall on us at that point, right? It's not the gym's fault that you didn't get the results when you didn't show up.
How many prospective gym training clients have you had that no-show you, and then you do the same thing? Like, okay, you know what I mean? And that's a perfect example too of somebody like at the level of the Iron Circle versus somebody that's not. We had a member of the Iron Circle scheduled a demo with me and didn't show up. And I sent a message, hey man, I'm on Zoom, like what's going on? And like 15 minutes later, I haven't heard back from him. I'm off Zoom and he sends me a message, dude, I'm so sorry. I thought I scheduled this for tomorrow, not today, right?
Sure.
It's like, okay, that's an honest mistake. A client can, like a potential client can make that mistake as far as like a training client goes. Difference is within like an hour, I get an email with an Amazon gift card. Like, dude, I'm so sorry for wasting your time. Here's a gift card from me. Like just a different action taker, somebody that gets it, like somebody that's excelling in their business, right? Somebody that's going to make probably $250,000, or I'm sorry, $750,000 this year in their business, maybe even $1 million, versus a gym owner that's scraping by, getting
60,301.
Right.
Right?
Exactly. So, it's kind of like you receive what you get.
That's a great way of putting it. Because I mean, there's goofy things, right? Like when they're reps, right? Like I work with gym owners are our clients, right? You've got both sides of that coin now. And the thing that bothers me, and the reason that we wanted to talk about this is because if you're the individual who is complaining or seeing your clients not get the results they want because they're not following through and doing those things, look at what you're doing. Might not right, wrong, and different, right? This is just an opportunity to be more aware. Raise the awareness of where your actions are, where your time is being spent, where your follow through is, are you doing the things you say you're going to do for your business, much like you expect your clients to do for their wellness? And if that's not the case, if that's not in congruency with the things you're claiming, it's up to you to make that change. Our job right here is just to raise that awareness, give you the thought, right? We're planting a seed. It's not for everybody, but if it is for you, this is a Hail Mary, saving grace. Like, this is your greatest opportunity to go make that change, and then just run hard. Create that level of urgency, decide that, hey, you know what? Growth is what I'm focused on in the business, not showing up and hoping, today goes well and maybe I'll put out some fires or whatever the hell, the business serves me up. You have to be intentional. You have to have a game plan. You have to have goals. You have to force your will upon a business if you want to reach those next levels. And a lot of it rolls up to the individual in the seat, not what they have available, not the information that they've learned, not all of that stuff is right there. Everybody has the same opportunity. It's those that are taking it that are seeing the greatest, level of advancement.
Well, and even, I kind of think a lot of the times too, gym owners are the coach, right? Like, they've been a coach their whole entire life, and, they might not understand what, like, the benefits that they can get from having a coach because they've always been the coach, right? So there's a certain, I guess, psychology to this of like, man, I can take action, right? I'm the guy that gets up at 4 a.m. and works out and shows up to my gym at 5 a.m. and works for 15 hours. Like, I've got the discipline. I don't need the coach. But it's like, what would you say to that prospective client that comes in and is like already in really good shape? Right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, like, why did they walk in?
Congratulations, you did it. You're done.
Yeah. Like, you're gonna tell that person, like, okay, this is the level you're at. Imagine where you can get to with a coach.
Absolutely.
Nobody pushes themselves as hard as I'm gonna push you once you're a client of mine. And it's the same thing that goes to the business side of things. It's like, yeah, you have the discipline. You're a rock star. You're waking up. You're working hard, but like, you might still benefit from having a coach and having, an outside perspective that's saying, like, here are all the tools. We've already paved the way. We have everything you need here. And by the way, like, if you follow this, maybe you don't have to work 15, 16, 17, 18 hours a day.
The greatest thing that, I've known it for years, right? All coaches, or the best coaches, have coaches.
Exactly.
Right? I pay Ben Newman. I've been loud about that. He was a keynote at our Growth Summit. Ben Newman's been my coach for the last couple of years. I pay him every month for that opportunity, right? That's an accountability aspect, and I'm happy to do it because I continue to get value exchanged there.
And if you didn't, you wouldn't do the things.
Exactly, 100%. And he's transparent. He's got 2 coaches. This guy is speaking from stage across the world. He's working with Alabama football and K-State football. He's got more championship rings than most people will ever come close to, organizations and things like that. But he has a coach, right? Because he's continually pushing driving forward for his needs and his desires in life. And again, that rolls downhill. I'm not saying we need to be your coaches. I'll say that every time. Find somebody that fills the gaps or can provide that subjective eye. And that's sometimes the biggest value is maybe you have that level of discipline and you've got all of the things that it takes to do that, but you're doing it in the wrong areas, right? I know so many gym owners that have nothing. They have all of the skill sets. They've got all of it. And they spend their time on their training floor 17 hours a day, where the priority in their life is serving their client on the training floor. Admirable. That's not driving a business forward.
If that's what you want to do, great.
Absolutely.
Right?
But you can't say I want more out of life, and then you spend your time doing something that's not going to provide you with more. And that's where a coach can come in. A coach can come in and say, hey, you know what? I agree. You might be happy doing what you're doing in the time that you're doing it, but you're unhappy because you don't have the results of what you actually claim that you want, or that you actually do want. But they can help realign those priorities and then take and help you shift to where your time and attention is spent, right? The best return for your time and your energy and the work that you're putting in. It's probably time to get off the training floor if you desire more for your business. It's just a fact, because It's all an energy exchange. And you as the owner can only spend so much time in so many different areas doing certain levels of work. You have to make sure that that work is in alignment with the things that you want out of your business. Coach can make sure that that's congruent.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's somebody listening to this right now, and they're like, Randy, you don't understand. I don't have anybody to replace myself. It's like, hey, guess what? We've got the solution to that, right? We can walk you through how to do it. And so that's the thing too, is like when we say take action, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're not taking action.
Correct.
It just might be, like you said, not in the area that is going to get you to where you want to be. And so it's really important to look in the mirror and determine, like, okay, what do I want? Right? Like, what am I trying to accomplish? Am I happy where I'm at, or am I trying to get somewhere else? If you're not happy, if there's more out there for you, then yeah, maybe you've got the discipline, you've got everything that it takes to get there. You just need some help figuring out the path to shift to that other area.
Yeah, and it goes back to the more is more. It's more isn't necessarily better, right?
Yeah.
And you can have all the skill sets and you can grind your knuckles and you can work harder, but that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get the gains in the right areas, right?
Yeah.
You can literally, that's the definition of insanity sometimes. I mean, we've worked with gym owners that have been doing this for 10 years plus that don't know the areas of the business they should be spending their time on. And to give clarity and some context to how we go about this, one of the first things that we do with our coaching program is exactly that. We dive in, I have you do a time analysis, because the first things first, right? The natural response is, oh, I don't have the time. Well, I don't have the time. Well, no crap. None of us do, right?
Yeah, right.
I've got a job. I've got 30 animal at home. I've got all these other things. Who's got time? So rather than say I don't have time, because that's a finite resource that we all share, let's go figure out where your time is being spent.
Your clients say that too.
Yeah, boom. True.
I mean,
I can't make it to the gym. I don't have time.
Yeah.
It's the same exact thing, guys. And if you claim you want something and your actions aren't in alignment, that's on you to change. And so the first thing that we're going to have you do is do a time audit. I'm going to have you write down, like literally go through in an average week of business, sit down, and every hour on the day, I want you to be hyper clear on the activities that you're doing in your business daily. And that means, maybe it's the hour on the training floor, maybe it's warming up, or getting the gym prep, before anybody gets there. Maybe it's a team meeting or getting, the staff on board and ready for the day. Whatever your time is spent doing. Typically when gym owners provide me that information, because again, it's not just go do this. I'm going to review this and I'm going to give feedback as your coach, because more often than almost 100% of the time, I probably had a couple gym owners that didn't. When it came to the working on the business, there's so little clarity on the things they should be doing or the things they actually are spending their time doing, that it becomes office work. What does that mean? Like if our goal is to find time in our day and to identify what we're working on, and you give me office time for 3-hour blocks, what are you scrolling Facebook? Are you like what? You know what I mean? So I challenge them again. Follow-ups with clients or prospective clients, customer service issues. Maybe you had to call that client that wasn't happy about something. Sales consultations, whatever. Like, get hyper clear. Launched a new Facebook campaign. Because the second half of that, right, this is where your time is being spent. Now we have to figure out how to get that time back. And that's where we start to do our assessments. Automate, delegate, and eliminate. First and foremost, eliminate. Right off the top, anything that you should not be spending your time. Maybe it's scrolling Facebook. Maybe it's whatever it may be. I mean, maybe it's literally just time on the floor, just being social, and it's not actually equating to, measurable ROI or anything for the business. So eliminate some of those. It's
the same thing, Randy, as your clients. Like, how often does somebody come in to meet with you? You're like, hey, what brings you in? They're like, I run 4 or 5 days a week. I'm doing cardio at the gym and I'm not like seeing any results. And it's like, you as the gym owner are talking to that person. You're like, okay, well, no, duh, right? Like, of course you're not seeing the result that you want, because the actions that you are taking is like, first of all, I would much rather have that person than the person that's taking no action at all. Yeah. Right? Because now we can just say, okay, we're just going to shift over here and do the right things that are going to get you the result. And the person goes, okay, like that makes sense to me, right? And it's like, okay, cool. Follow this formula. Here's the plan. Like, let's go and get you the results that you're looking for. It's not a matter of you not doing the work. It's just a matter of you taking the action and putting enough trust in yourself and the program, the approach that you're taking of like, hey, if I take action, I invest the time, I'm going to get this end result.
Absolutely.
Right.
And that's why we always go back to just run the play, right?
Run
you know
the
what I
play.
mean? If you run the play, even if you don't get 100% of the result that you're searching for, you're going to follow the 85% plus. You know what I mean? Because the system and the play is the level of success that's determined. That's the standard based upon the evidence, the people who've come before you. Like, we don't talk out our ass when we talk about the business, you know, the structure of the business and how to go grow your fitness business. We've done it ourselves. We've done this with other gyms for how many years, and that's the reason that we hold that standard. There's a million different ways to go be successful, but this is the way that we know. This is the way that we believe, and if you're in alignment with that, and you want the same desire of the results for yourself, then do what we have done in order to see a similar result. And that, I mean, that's as simple as it can be. But the correlation between the actions,
wild.
Some of the goofy things too, like clear your damn voicemails. You're a business owner. If you're complaining that you're not where you want, and I get it, I'm another business calling your business, and probably because you know the opportunity to work with me is the reason I'm calling, right? Business to business relationship. What if a client's calling you and wants to sign up and you miss that call? That person's throwing money at
Randy,
you.
I'm too busy. I'm on the training floor.
Cool. So you're too busy to serve me as a client in my need. And
that's what you're communicating.
It's exactly
to
what you're telling your client. I don't care about you and your needs.
And the reason I'm on this episode today is because Tim is doing a CLA workshop. So you mentioned eliminate, and you mentioned automate, delegate. Like, you know, I would not be a part of the ProFit coaching team without automation.
Absolutely. Sure.
Tim's, you know, helping people build out the Keep CLA right now. It's like right now, if a lead came into our system and I'm sitting in here on a podcast episode, that person's going to get nurtured. Like, they're getting text messages, emails, voicemails from me. I can't pick up the phone and talk to that person right now, right? We would have to pause the episode. Nick would have to like edit it. Like, just think of how one automation tool like that, how much time that can buy you.
Absolutely.
And then, you know, now you're catching everybody all the time. They're all automatically being nurtured. I mean, we use that same tool for our client outreach, right? Like, I'm one guy. It's hard to follow up with 200 clients.
Absolutely.
Right? But we put them in a sequence, automated sequence, sends them text messages, and it's like checking in. Hey, how was your weekend? How'd you do with your nutrition over the weekend? They text me back. I wouldn't remember to text 200 people, right?
But now you've got responses.
But now I have a response coming directly to my phone, and I can respond to that. So that's just an example, right? Of like, if you don't have automation in your business, then like, of course, you're constantly going to be like overwhelmed with and be busy and not necessarily have the time. So I'd almost say that that's like, you know, do your time audit. That's step one. Well, step one is like, you know, take action. Step two is do your time audit. Step three is like, hey, let's automate like eliminate and automate a bunch of this stuff. Now, all of a sudden you found 3-4 hours in your day that weren't there before, that now we can work on the business and start executing.
And
right?
that's exactly it. And then clarity on what the actions that I should be taking in the new found time. What are things as a business owner that do move the needle of the business, that me as the most valuable person in the entire organization, what are the tasks that are valued or at that level of value? Right? If you as a gym owner, as a business owner, should think about your time being spent like a doctor and attorney. If you're not spending your time and investing your time on areas that pay you $300, $400, $500, $600, $700, maybe $1,000 an hour as in a return, you're probably spending your time in the wrong areas.
You're more
of your
valuable
business.
than that.
And that's the thing. And
Yeah.
when we've talked about repairing your own equipment, and that's got its own, issues and things like that. But stop finding ways of filling your time and start being extremely deliberate with where you're putting your time and attention in your business. And that is going to explode the business. But awareness, internally looking at it. And the reason we compare this to obviously our clients is because you as a gym owner see it. You experience this every day. And if it upsets you when your clients are not doing the things that they know they should, because you've educated them and guided them and you've given them what they need as far as the tools and the resources, but they're not taking action, this is your opportunity to look at yourself and your business and say, hey, it's my fault. I'm going to take responsibility. I can change these things. This is on me, nobody else. Identify those and then take action in the right areas. That's what's going to lead you to the next level.
And it's not as hard as one might think.
No.
And that's the thing. I know we're talking about it, with some overabundance of confidence.
Yes.
Right. But really, guys, that's like, how would you communicate to a prospective client, like, hey, you're probably talking about it with an overabundance of confidence because you have done it and seen it done so many times that hey, if I just get this person to do what I say, they're going to be super successful.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
And there's like you said, we're in the generation of application. Like, there is an app for that, right? Like, yeah. I mean, from automating your communication with your clients or your leads and nurturing them to come in, automating or not automating, but like with Semi-Private Pro, right? Like, you can recreate yourself on the training floor by giving your team the tools to deliver, right? And deliver your brand in the way that you would do it, where you're not just relying on a coach to just like, you're not saying, hey, I don't have time for clients anymore, go train them. It's like, no, you can have a system that's going to reproduce how you would train those clients. So don't think, like, there are so many options and tools out there available and apps for that. Like, that's what I'm saying is
there's systems at the end of the day.
It's just systems, right? And I'm the fitness director here, right? Tim, I don't know when the last time Tim trained a client was as the owner. But I don't even do any training unless somebody's like on vacation or something and I'm filling in. It's like we have figured out how to recreate ourselves and our brand and the delivery and, recreate our somebody that's picking up the phone and calling prospective
same
leads.
Thing. The system, that same thing in the sales process, right?
You
can't be in every one of those seats, but you can instill, somebody else with the tools through a system that can give them a similar level of result and success because it's system dependent, not individual dependent. Yeah.
And automation never sleeps. It never gets sick. It's just working.
That's one of my favorite. Like, we were talking yesterday about just the automation is somebody who's coming in on SPP or whatever. We were checking, their follow through. And I'm like, just thinking about this. I'm like, somebody without us even being in the seat, having to do anything, somebody can literally take action over here, make a payment. It'll trigger their whole onboarding, all of their access, and move that client to towards the next face-to-face that's needed. It's not replacing us. It's just taking care of the repetition, right? Like those repeatable actions that we need clients to take. It's filling those gaps. And then what does it do? It gives you, as the fitness, doing the demo, or the fitness director, or me in the sales position in that seat. Now we have our time to give that 100% of our energy and what it deserves, as opposed to running around trying to send 500 follow-up texts and then all of a sudden shift focus. And unfortunately, that's how a lot of gym owners are running their business, right? They're trying to do it all themselves.
Yep.
You have to be able to delegate. You have to be able to automate some of it. Some of it you'll eliminate, but become aware.
Give yourself the same advice that you would give your clients, right? And just recognize the parallels between, like, it's how a client is struggling with their health and fitness is probably pretty similar to how you're struggling with your business, and determine your goal, your outcome, right? Like, what am I trying to get to? What are the things that I'm trying to fix? Well, what advice would you give your client when they tell you, here's what I'm trying to accomplish? What are you trying to accomplish as the gym owner? And then detach, right?
Yeah.
Detach from the situation and look at it and go, okay, well, like if I was going to coach a client to get there, like what would I tell them?
Oh, yeah, exactly.
You know, and
Yeah,
then
I love
take your
that.
own advice.
Yeah, we can leave it on that one. Great episode. Obviously, this one, like we said, is a little bit of a little poke, a little bit of awareness. It's not, obviously, we're not speaking to everybody. Not everybody has those issues and things like that. But if it does resonate with you, if these things, trigger something in you that says, hey, you know what, I'm capable of more, I need more, let's have that conversation. Let's jump on a call, winninggym.com/call. You'll have the opportunity to book on my schedule using automation. You'll choose your own time. It'll show up on my calendar. And I'll be ready, obviously, for that call to give you what you deserve and what that call, should be about. And so we'll dive into your business, have the conversation, but ultimately we're here to help you win. If we could do that, feel free to reach out. We're here to help. So that's it for this episode. Keep changing lives.
All right, and thank you for listening to that episode of the Built to Grow podcast, where we help gym owners win. Now, do you want to connect with me and other gym owners online? All you need to do is join our private Facebook group, Business Talk with Fitness Professionals. Just head on over to Facebook and type in Business Talk with Fitness Professionals, and when you do, we're going to give you our 10 marketing strategies 7-figure gym owners use to win. I look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Until then, keep building something great.